Hi Year 5, welcome to Wednesday's maths video, and we're going to be looking at interpreting timetables today. So let me just share my screen and we'll get started, and you might want to open up the PDF as well, just so you've got it in front of you. There we go. Okay, so we're going to start with a review task today, and it's to do with a flight timetable. So how many of you have been on a flight? Have you ever seen a flight timetable before? So this is a timetable for non-stop flights from Singapore to London. What I always do before I look at questions about timetables is I just have a little look at the timetable and see what information I'm being given. So I can see that I've got some different columns here. I've got departure times and arrival times. So that's departing Singapore and then arriving in London. And then I've got flight numbers and aircraft numbers as well, and the duration of the flight. So they're quite long flights, aren't they? 13 hours, 35 minutes. And then we've got the days of the week that those particular flights operate. So if we look at this row we can see is flight SQ306, and we can see that it runs Monday and Tuesday, but there's a gap for Wednesday, runs Thursday and Friday, and then there's a gap for Saturday, and then it runs on Sunday. What else can we see? We can see the times. So what do you notice about the times? Are they in 12-hour clock form or are they in 24-hour clock form? So hopefully you can see that because we're counting past 12 in our hours, so we will always read hours and then minutes, we can see 24-hour time. So we're going to need to be able to convert between 12-hour and 24-hour time today, because questions like this might ask you, about 5 p.m. And so you'd have to think, what's 5 p.m. in 24-hour clock time? So there is a little table here that can help you. You can always rewind the video and pause on this page if you want to have a bit of help with this. Just remember that 12 midnight is 24 hours. That's the 24th hour in our 24-hour clock. And then we start with our AM times. So 12 a.m. in the morning is 00 as an hour in the 24-hour clock. And then we count up just the same really in AM. So 1 a.m. is 1 hour, 2 a.m. 2, 3 a.m. is 3, all the way up to 11, and then 12 noon, which is 12. And then when we go on to afternoon times, we add 1 to 12. So 1 p.m. becomes 13 hours, and then 2 becomes 14, 3 becomes 15. So if we're thinking about this question, and Mr. Griffiths can only leave after 5 p.m, we'd be able to think, okay, well, I know what 12 noon is, so I need to add 5 to 12, and that will get me to 17. Okay, so I'm going to leave you just to think about the questions now. You're going to need to think about when the afternoon might be. So pause the video, have a go at the questions, and then we'll go through them afterwards. Okay? Okay, so let's start with the first question. So it says Mrs. Bracknell wants to take an afternoon flight. So I'm just going to simplify the table a little bit. So I've taken the depart and the arrive and the flights because that's all we need to know right now. Because it doesn't say which day Mrs. Bracknell wants to take the flight, just that she wants an afternoon flight. So which times are afternoon times? Well, I know morning is up until 12 noon, and then the afternoon is from 12 noon up until about 6 p.m. in evening. So if we're thinking 24-hour clock, that would be 1800 hours, wouldn't it? So if I kind of highlight the afternoon times, I know 1:10, that's 1 in the morning, so that's not afternoon, and that's 5 minutes past 9 in the morning. This is past 12, this is past midnight, so this is an afternoon time. And then this one is 22:45, so that's 45 minutes past 10 at night. And then the other ones are even later, so they're night times. So the only flight that Mrs. Bracknell could take if she wants an afternoon flight is the SQ318, which departs at 12:35. So all of the other flights are not in the afternoon. We've got 2 in the morning and then 3 at night. So let's go to the next question. Ms. Rosenthal wants to arrive in London on Monday afternoon. So we've got specific piece of information. So can you see that I've taken a bit more information from the table? We now need to think about the day, Monday, and we need to look and see, are there flights that run on a Monday? And actually all of the flights are running on a Monday because there's no spaces. So we might not need to look at the duration time or the aircraft number, but we do need to think about which flights Ms. Rosenthal could use, that I could use, to arrive on Monday afternoon. So I'm not going to look at the departures now, I'm going to look at the arrivals, and I'm going to look at which arrival times are in the afternoon. And I can see that that one is after 12 noon, but it's before 6 in the afternoon, it's before 1800 hours. This one is past, so the only flight, if I just check the others as well, no, that's in the morning, and that's in the morning, and that's in the morning. So that is the only flight that I can take if I want to arrive in London on Monday afternoon. Super. Now, you might be looking at this table thinking, oh, what does this +1 mean? So remember that the +1 means that the arrival time is 1 day after the departure date. So if you can imagine leaving Singapore at 10:15 at night, the flight is so long that you'd actually arrive at 5 minutes past 5 the next morning. So these +1s mean that it's an overnight flight and that you'd arrive the following morning. Now we might need that for our next question, because it says in the next question, Mr. Griffiths can only leave after 5 p.m. on Tuesday. So let's think about when Mr. Griffiths can take his flight. If he's leaving, then he's departing, but he needs to depart after 5 p.m. on Tuesday. So we can look at the Tuesday column. So I can see from here that the only flights that depart after 5 p.m. on Tuesday are the late flights, the ones that are in the evening. So we've got those 3 there. We've got no gaps, so we know that those flights are running. So Mr. Griffiths can leave on any of those evening flights. Now, I wonder if he could also leave early the next morning, because he'll arrive early the next morning, won't he? He'd arrive at 5:05 in the morning, or 5:30, or 5:55. So the next flight that he could actually take could be the 1:10 that departs at 1:10 in the morning on Wednesday. He could leave Wednesday morning, but unfortunately that one is not running on a Wednesday. So he could take the 5 minutes past 9 on a Wednesday morning as well, because that one is running. Okay, if you want an extra question, then have a little think about this one. Ms. Rosenthal wants to arrive in London on Monday afternoon. So think about it, the question that we had before, but what if I wanted to arrive in London on Monday morning instead? Pause the video if you want to answer that question, and think about whether you only look at the Monday column, or would you need to look at the Sunday flights as well. So pause that now. Okay. I want to just talk about calculating some time durations, because you might have some questions like this. Ms. Rosenthal needs to reach the hotel by 9 a.m. on Monday. So this is something happening after I've landed. So let's look. It takes an hour, 1 hour, so that's 60 minutes to get through immigration, and another hour to travel to the hotel. And it says, which flight should I take? So in order to make sure I get to my hotel on time at 9 o'clock, I'm going to think about a number line. So if I work backwards from wanting to be at the hotel, I know it takes an hour to travel to the hotel from the airport. So that's 1 hour. I'm just going to put a 1 there. So I would need to leave the airport an hour before. So that would be at 8 in the morning. That's 1 hour before. Now, it takes an hour to get through immigration, doesn't it? So I also need to go back another hour for the immigration. Immigration's like passport control, trying to get into the country. And so an hour back from 8 o'clock would be 7 o'clock in the morning. So my flight would need to land before 7 o'clock in the morning. If it landed any later than 7 o'clock in the morning, then all of these times would be later and I wouldn't get to the hotel on time. So let's look at the arrival times of the flights on the Monday. So this flight, 7:45, that would be too late, wouldn't it? Then I'd, if it took an hour to get through immigration, I'd be leaving the airport at 8:45, and then I wouldn't arrive till 9:45. So I need to look at the flights that are the day before, actually, on Sunday. So I can see that all the flights do run on Sunday. So if I took the 10:45 or the 11:15 or the 11:30 flights, I would be able to arrive really early in the morning, before 7 o'clock. And so those are the flights that I would need to take. Okay, there's some guided practice now. So just to think about what time would I arrive at my hotel if I took these other flights. So I've listed the flights here and I've given you the times that they land. So you've got to think, you know, if it takes an hour to get through immigration and another hour to travel to the hotel, what time would I arrive at my hotel? And the last one's just to think about without the number line, just to stretch your brain a bit. And then you've got some independent practice. So you've got another flight timetable, but it's a slightly different format, just to give you a bit more experience. Some more questions on the next page. And then the Deeper Thinking Challenge is another timetable, flights from the Isle of Man to Heathrow, and it's a slightly different format. You've got different flight numbers, you've got different operation dates, and you've got them operating on different days, so more things to think about there. So good luck, Year 5s, and I'll see you on Thursday. Okay, bye.